Welcome back, everybody. This is going to be my summer review for the 12-week program 80/20 running by Matt Fitzgerald. And I did follow a 10K program. And on the 12 weeks, the 84 days, I actually logged 89 workouts. Granted, they were not all running. There was some weightlifting and definitely some jiu-jitsu in there. And the goal of it was to become a good enough runner while still maintaining my strength and jiu-jitsu. With that, as I mentioned, it was 84 days. I actually logged 89 days of workouts. And with that, I did log over 150 miles in the 12-week period, and some of them were in 115-degree weather. Yeah, gotta love Arizona and that dry heat. Most of my runs, if not all of them that I can think of, were actually ran in sandals, earth runners, which have been my go-to ever since I went minimalist just about 2012, 2013. Let's get into it. But as I mentioned, running wasn't the only thing I was doing. I was deeply involved in my jiu-jitsu as I am essentially a coach. I do train kids and adults at our school. And on top of that, I did incorporate some weightlifting, either because of time constraints or something or another. And I just felt like mobility and strength were in the menu. Background, I have lifted a lot in the past, so I probably did maybe 5 weightlifting sessions throughout the 12 weeks. But overall, 89 workouts, as I mentioned, weightlifting, running, and jiu-jitsu. The whole thing was to still maintain my skill set on the mats, my strength overall, and actually improve in my running, which 80/20 did for me. During all this period, one thing I was worried about was my recovery. As you know, I am older this year, I'll be 44, and my sleep, I try to prioritize it either by drinking a chamomile tea, getting plenty of hours of sleep, whatnot. But I know I did a good job at the end of this training block because my HRV actually improved. It went from 70 milliseconds to 74 milliseconds. And as you know, HRV is a metric as far as how ready you are to tackle that day. Granted, there's some nuances between it, but in the general, I did see a positive trend from 70 to 74, which is 4 milliseconds more, and that's always a plus. And after the 12 weeks, race day was here on Saturday, August 10th, and I had a blast. It was a 10K, well, 6.3 something that I logged out in the white tanks, the mountains at night, and it was a fun experience. I think I was probably the only one out there in sandals, and it was great. Weather was perfect. Actually, it dropped under 100. I think at the start of the race, it was like 90 something when we finished. I want to say it was in the 80s. Still a little humid, not too bad. If I find the temperature, I'll drop it right here. And the overall, so a week before I did run it. I wasn't pushing it. I was trying to learn the terrain, and I managed to finish the course, the loop, in an hour and 22 minutes. Race day, the temperature, the excitement, and all this and that, I actually managed to get it under 1 hour and 10. So an hour and 10 minutes and some change. So I felt awesome. I think I placed 19 on overall males or 21 in overall out of 119 or so. So not too shabby. I think the 80/20 did help a lot, and I'm pretty happy with my performance. The Huaraches from Earth Runners actually held superb. I love them. Definitely, they're a keeper as far as training in them, especially if I plan to do another trail run, any kind of run. To be honest, definitely be wearing those. And yeah, I think I'm on my third pair already. So big shout out to them and their product. Bottom line, I do recommend 80/20 by Matt Fitzgerald. It's a great book. It has great training program blocks. If you have never ran a training block, I do recommend to follow his philosophy, hitting the 80/20 approach. Although I did hit 75/25, I wasn't 80/20, but I did see the benefits out of it. And it gets you to understand your breathing techniques. One of the things that I actually learned, if you want to say that, from this 12-week period is that during my runs, I had to control my breathing to try and mitigate my heart rate to come down. So if it was running a zone 2, it would jump to a zone 3 because of the heat or my pace or what have you. So I had to slow down and try and control my breathing so I can bring my heart rate down, therefore getting into back to the zone. So definitely some learning experience, and that's something I did apply in my race. The goal was to hit a zone 3, zone 4, especially a zone 5 if it was about to pass somebody. So once I started passing people, my heart rate would shoot up to 170 something, so zone 5, and I would just stay in that spot until my heart rate dropped to 160. A zone 3, zone 4, I held it for a while until I was ready to pass again. So back into the learning lessons, I did learn how to manage my exertion limits, and I was able to run most of the race. I did stop a couple times, especially on the uphills. But overall, great experience, great book, and I highly recommend it. So I'm excited to keep pushing the limits. I'll be continue training, weightlifting, and some jiu-jitsu for sure. I might start throwing some mountain bike. I'll get my occasional runs here and there. But yeah, it's always celebrate your body, move, express yourself in movement, and you'll do great. Beyond that, feel free to drop any questions, comments, concerns. I'll help you out in whatever I can. Thank you for watching. Hopefully my next adventure, I'll log it, I'll track it. Thank you for sticking around, and we'll catch you in the next adventure.